talk about the syllabus, and in order to access the syllabus, you're going to go onto your My Blackboard page for our course, and you're going to click on Syllabus and Instructions. Then you're going to go over to the syllabus line, and you're going to put your cursor over the Summer 2014 Psych 200 syllabus. You're going to right-click, and you are going to save this link as. If you are a Mac user, if you're a PC user, it will be save this target as. And then you can save it to wherever you want. I would probably, start a folder for our course, and that's where I'll be saving it. So I would just click save and then retrieve it that way. For now, I'm just going to click on it and open it into my PDF viewer, which is built into Firefox. So this is going to be a two-part video series because the syllabus has so much detail and I can only do videos in 15-minute increments. So we'll just go ahead and get started this way. So you can see at the top is just general information about the course, my name, which is Miss Flynn, my email address, which is my preferred means of communication, that's right here, kflynn3@umbc.edu. My office hours, I briefly mentioned this in the Blackboard overview, but I'm available by appointment only as this is an online course, so we're going to need to meet virtually. We'll be using Google Hangout to do that, and there is a list of instructions for you if you are not familiar with Google Hangouts that I pointed out to you in the Blackboard overview. Our class meeting time, we do not have a class meeting time as, again, this is an online course, so everything is self-paced. However, we do have deadlines for different units. Our course is broken into 5 units, and each unit there will be a due date for the work associated with that unit. So while we don't meet in person, we do still have deadlines that you need to pay attention to. Additionally, we will have a final exam, and I mentioned this in the Blackboard overview as well, but our final exam will be on Friday, August 15th, and it starts at 10 a.m. You do not need to go anywhere for this exam. You just need to be on Blackboard at that time, and I've already received a couple emails from people with scheduling conflicts, and that's perfectly fine. Just send me an email if you're not available on Friday, August 15th at 10 a.m. to start your final exam. So moving right along, our required materials here. You have 2 required materials. The first is your text, which is called The Developing Child, the 13th edition from B. and Boyd. The second is a Pearson My Development Lab with My Virtual Child access code. A couple things to remember about this. The first is that you can buy a used textbook, but you cannot buy a used access code. That's very important to remember. So our UMBC bookstore has kindly bundled these 2 items for you to purchase. I believe that's $120. And another option, though, is to purchase it directly from Pearson, which is the publisher that makes our My Development Lab, which is where you'll be doing a lot of work for the course. And you can purchase the access code plus access to the e-text for, I believe that's $75. So it's a little less expensive. However, the trade-off is that you do not have a hard copy of your book, which can prove to be handy when you're doing your exams and you're doing the more assessing the assessment assignments. So that's your post-tests and your exams. So it's really up to you. It's just very difficult to have both your exam open as well as your e-text at the same time on your computer. That can actually cause problems and can cause your exam to stall, which is an issue because you only have 45 minutes to take your online exam. So Something for you to consider if you're very comfortable with e-text and you'd prefer to do it that way, that's fine. I believe you can even print out the e-text. It's just that winds up being a lot of pages for you to print. So it's up to you. There are trade-offs, but completely up to you, and email me if you have any questions about that. Moving right along to the course description, we're going to be covering prenatal development through middle childhood. Sometimes your book references adolescence and even early adulthood, but for our purposes in this course, we're really just going to focus on prenatal development through middle childhood. We're going to be applying or reviewing and applying theories of child development, research methods, that are used to study children over time, and the multiple factors that influence children's development. And then we break down children's development into different domains, and that's physical, cognitive, social, and emotional development. And that's how your book is organized. Moving here below, so the very last few pages of the syllabus is your course schedule. And it's, again, very important to pay attention to due dates that we do have. Typically, assignments will be due on Wednesdays at 11:59 p.m. However, we do have about 2 or 3 assignments that are not due on Wednesdays. We have 2 assignments that are due on Mondays and 1 that's due on a Friday. So we'll talk more about that when I get to the schedule, but that's important to remember. This course is going to consist of many different types of work, and I'm going to talk about that when I get down here to course requirements. But just be aware that it's not, you have many different assignments in this course. It's not just one thing. It's not just your My Development Lab. You also have additional assignments as well. This course fulfills both a psych major and minor requirements for your development domain. It can also fulfill gen ed requirements for other majors as well. You cannot take this course as pass-fail. You will get a grade. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, down to course requirements. So here's where we really break down the different assignments that are associated with your participation in the class. So I've been talking a lot about My Development Lab, and that's something I'm going to do a separate video on, but I will just give you an overview here. So when you sign into your My Development Lab, the first time you will need to enter in your access code and configure it. But each subsequent time, you will just be going straight into your My Development Lab assignment calendar. And that's going to kind of guide you through the course. So in your My Development Lab assignment calendar, for each chapter, you're going to have a series of assignments related to that. So the very first item you'll see for each chapter are the learning objectives. And that's not actually an assignment. It's more a list of questions that you should be able to answer once you've read through the chapter and completed all of the corresponding assignments. So that's something that can be nice to print out and to read through prior to reading through a chapter and doing the assignments, just so you kind of have a heads up on what it is you should be looking for specifically throughout the chapter. The next item is going to be the e-text, and this is your text in a digital form. Most of you will have access to this e-text. However, if you do choose to purchase the access code without access to the e-text, there is a price difference there. Say you purchased your book used on Amazon and you just want access to the My Development Lab without the e-text. I believe the cost for that's only $55. You won't have access to the e-text, but the e-text is if you do have access to it, then it will be the second link. The third item is your media assignments, and this is basically a series of short videos that show you different things about the chapter. So you're going to read these short videos. They're between, on average, 2 to 3 minutes, and then you're going to answer a few questions, multiple choice questions related to that. And you can do those quizzes multiple times, as many times as you need to, so you can get your grade as high as you so choose. The next items are the pre-tests and post-tests. So at the end of each chapter, once you've read through it and you've completed the media assignments, you are going to have a series of assessments. The first is going to be your pretest, and your pretest is not technically graded, but you do have to complete the pretest in order to unlock the post-test. So the pretest is something that kind of allows you to gauge your understanding of the material within a given chapter prior to taking a test or an exam that's actually graded. So you take the pretest and you need to get a 70% or higher in order to quote unquote unlock the post-test. If you do get a 69% or lower, you'll be prescribed different study material that you should do in order to get your grade up and then take the post-test. The post-test is something that is worth 10% of your overall grade. And again, you can take it multiple times. You have unlimited time to take it. And it's something that you really should work at before you dive into the chapter exam. So the chapter exam is also going to gauge your understanding of the chapter, but you only have 45 minutes to take it. You can only take it once. You can use your textbook. But again, it's very set. You cannot go beyond the 45 minutes. You can't stop and start and take it again. It's something that you're just going to want to be designating 45 minutes to take and not doing anything else. The next portion of my development lab is your My Virtual Child. And this is something that is not, it's not due until the end of the summer session. It's something you should be working on throughout the course of the semester, and we'll go into more detail about that in the My Development Lab video. But you're basically going to be raising a virtual child through the age of 12 years, 11 months. It is possible to raise them through 18 years of age, but for the purposes of this course, you only need to raise them to be 12 years, 11 months. And this is going to be due on Wednesday, August 13th at 11:59 p.m. and it's worth 10% of your grade. It's also very important the first time you log into your My Virtual Child, and again, I'll show you how to do that in the next video, that you associate it or you link it with our class ID. You have to enter a class ID, and our class ID is 11761. And I'm going to ask that you register your My Virtual Child by Friday, July 11th. That's all for this video. I'm going to have a second syllabus video in just a moment, and we will pick up where we left off.